Going back to a place that triggers you. Or what does it mean to go back to a place that triggers you? Let's start by looking at eligama lithi trigger in this context. To be more simple, to be triggered in this context simply means you are reminded of something. So trigger in this context means a reminder. It refers to a reminder. Now, a reminder could be a place, someone's perfume, an event you experienced whilst growing up or in your youth. It could refer to many things, because some people were bullied. Some people have experiences of being bullied, and as a result of that, years later, what happens? What happens when they read about bullying? What happens when they see someone else bullying another person? That triggers them. Now, what I want to talk about, yindlela that you respond to that trigger. It's the way you respond to that trigger. Because it's important how you respond, no matter what happened. Before we move on, a trigger can be a good trigger. It can also be a bad trigger, meaning you could be reminded of something that happened in the past, whether it was a good event or whether it was a bad event. But ndifuna uthetha mna about the bad event. Because the problem we have today is people who have not healed from their bad experiences. That's why I'm asking the question then. What happens when you are triggered? What happens when you are taken back to that particular place where you don't want to go? Now, you can go back to the place where you were triggered in two ways. One, it can be voluntarily, or it can be involuntarily. Now, whatever the case may be, the question I'm asking remains: how do you respond to that trigger? Now, in my experience, you hear people in the vocabulary that they are not, or they have not healed from lenhlungu. So xa kukhola trigger, ufumanisa into yoba ngoku umuntu uyangcangcazela, unomsindo, and akacingi before athethe okanye enze. That then results to you being a danger to yourself. Not only to yourself, but to the people around you. You must remember this. When you are triggered, it's up to you how you respond. When you are triggered by a bad event, it's up to you how you respond. You must also remember that however you respond should not be detrimental to you. Mayingabi yinto ezawubuya ibe nobungozi kuwe. Wena into funeka uyenzile, kufuneka ucinge positively. You must have words of affirmation. I'm focusing on bad triggers here. Meaning there's hurt involved. Meaning there's betrayal involved. Meaning there's manipulation involved. So that's why I'm saying, how do you respond? But I'm cautioning you that how you respond is important for your mental health. It's important for your being. It's important for your interaction with other people. However you respond, you must know the fact that it has passed. What you are triggered by, which takes you back to the bad event, the event is no longer present. The event is no longer taking place. Even if you are experiencing similar traits or similar qualities of what happened back then, you need to evaluate them. You need to evaluate them according to the context in which they are occurring. Don't use the mindset of the past Don't use the mindset of the time that has gone by. The danger of responding negatively to bad events is this. You get to spoil potential relationships. You get to damage what could be a good thing for you. It's up to you. But you must find ways of dealing with the past. You must find ways of dealing with the past. That's the challenge I'm bringing to you today. I'm coming to you today to say, go back voluntarily. Go back voluntarily to that place you don't want to visit. As I said earlier, it could be a place. It could be a journal. It could be a journal. Maybe in your most hurtful moments, at your lowest point, you journaled some things that you journaled your feelings. You journaled how angry you were, how disappointed you were. How often do you go back there? I was chatting to someone yesterday and I asked, do you journal? Do you write about how you are feeling? And this person said yes. And I asked, how often do you go and read what you wrote? And she simply said, and honestly so, I don't, because it's all bad things. Zizinto ezimbi ezibhalayo pha. I then said, well, from today onwards, choose to write something that you have learned from your situation. Choose to write something that you have learned from your situation. Meaning now, in every situation that you are going through, adverse situation, situation embi, situation ekubangela into yoba uve kabuhlungu, always ask yourself when you are alone, always ask yourself, what could be the lesson in this? And you grab that lesson. You grab that lesson, although it would not make sense at the time, and you run with it. It's what is going to sustain you. It's what is going to help you in the long run to go back now when you have healed or when you are in your healing process, to go back to that journal where you wrote negatively, where you wrote bad things, and you read and you see how angry you were. Again, you are going to be triggered. But it's a challenge. It's something that is going to assess how you have healed, how far you are in your healing process. That's why it's important to go back. Hence, I'm saying to you, the challenge I'm posing to you today is to go back to the place that you don't want to go back to. And the sad part at times is that you can be triggered involuntarily. And a smell just comes. And it takes you back to that person you no longer have a communication with or making communication with. You could be triggered by thoughts, and you could die in your own thoughts. I'm saying to you, have something to rebut, have something to fight those thoughts. Because eventually you are alone. The people you fought with, the people you no longer talk with, they've moved on. Why are you remaining in that place? Why are you remaining in that dungeon? Phuma up. Because ushiyeka uwedwa ngoku. Ushiyeka ngoku uwedwa, and you need to heal. You have no choice. You don't have a choice. It does not help into yoba ukhala uzibhuqe phansi. No. Do that and move on. Do that and move on. So I'm trying to say to you today, go back to the place you don't want to go back to. And assess, evaluate, check how you are healing or how you have healed. It's important. It's very, very important. Because you must remember this. You don't live in isolation. Awuphili wedwa, uphila nabantu. As a result, your negative energy will rub off kubanye abantu. You do not want that. Because you'll end up now having people leaving you. Uphinde again uthi wena uthandwa ngabantu. Uphinde again wena ube na self-pity party, forgetting that you are the cause. Be careful. Take care of yourself. Be selfish. There's always a negative connotation when we talk about selfishness. But the one I'm talking about today is being selfish in a positive way. It is protecting yourself. It is protecting the person you are. It is protecting the person you are, the person you desire to be. Now, if you want to survive this, heal. Heal, and healing has no duration. Healing has no duration. But every time you are triggered, every time you are going through a moment of depression, a moment of feeling sorry for yourself, how do you get out of that? You get out of that by thinking positively. You get out of that by thinking of the good you have done within that particular situation that was detrimental to you. I repeat this, think about the good you have done in that particular relationship, in that particular situation that became your downfall. Let there be war. You now need to use your reasoning and not your emotions. You now need to use your reasoning and not your emotions. I always say to my students, don't use your emotions. Think, listen, think, and then you act. Don't act according to your emotions, because emotions will mislead you. Emotions will mislead you. That I believe we all know. Because 1 minute you are happy, the other minute you are sad just because you saw a text that is not in your favor. And your emotions change rapidly. They change rapidly. You need to use your reasoning. You need at times to keep quiet. And don't say anything. Just think about what is at hand. Think about the situation you are faced with. And think of possible ways to get out of it. Or dealing with it, rather. Not you wallowing, complaining all the time. Some people overdo it. Some people, they wallow for too long. And it's unnecessary. I don't care who says what. It's unnecessary. Because you are hurting yourself. You are hurting yourself. I repeat this. You are hurting yourself. And you will have no one to blame but yourself. You will have no one to blame but yourself. So nceda bendani phumani kwinto yokuba nizisizele ningabi nacebo. Icebo maliphume kwizinto ozicingayo. Icebo maliphume, and there is a plan. I know what I'm saying is quite complex and controversial. But again, I'm making it simple. I'm saying, in the midst of it all, in the midst of the triggers, in the midst of the situation you are in now, khawucinge positively, man. Khawucinge about the good, man. Try it and see uba izokusebenzela na. That's why ndikuchallenge ndisithi khawucinge ngesituation eyayibuhlungu kuwe. Deliberately go there. Go back there. If it's a place, if it's a building, if it's a building that you know it's got bad experiences, man, and check how you are responding to that. And check how you are responding to that. If you have not healed, my friend, if you have not healed and you are counting time, if we can in this case, then you need to sit down. You need to sit down and think to yourself, what can I do that can help me move away from this feeling of hurt? What can I do that can help me move away from this feeling of feeling disappointed? You were disappointed. You're not disappointed now. You were disappointed. You're not disappointed now. Don't allow yourself to be that kind of person. Like I said earlier, you will ruin potential relationships. You will ruin potential relationships. Don't come with the burdens and baggage of previous relationships, of previous encounters, and bring them to a new one. No, don't do that. You are being unfair to the other person or the other people. So you need to deal with yourself. You need to deal with this person that is you. And the only way, or one key way for me, it is to think positively. Lastly, at times, people pray that God gives them a way of forgiving. I don't know what to call it, whether to call it a skill or what, but I want to say this. People pray prayers such as, God, help me to forgive. Help me to forgive these people. Help me to forgive this person. That is well and good. But when they go out of their prayer place, when they leave their altar, they act differently. They oppose their prayers. I once wrote and said, let your prayers be be accountable to them. Maybe indawo iprayers zakho oqonba andikwazi uacta ngale ndlela kodwa ndithe emthandazweni. Andikwazi uba ngoku ndithethe ngendlela engaxoleliyo kodwa ndithe emthandazweni, Thixo ndicela undenze ndixolele. You know, you need to act according to your prayers. So if you're going to act differently, then don't pray for forgiveness. Why are you praying for forgiveness if you are going to act differently? I'm saying today, act according to what you desire. Act according to what you desire. Act according to what you are praying for. And live by that. Walk by that. Let that sustain you. Let that hope you have sustain you. Let that desire in you sustain you. Don't pray prayers when you are hurting. Don't do that. Because when right. Do not pray prayers or have hopes. No, don't do that, because those are hindrances to your healing. Those are hindrances to your healing. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your family. Don't do that to your friends. Because like I said, that is going to impact your relationships. So I'm saying today, whether be it voluntarily or involuntarily, but when triggers come, assess yourself. Don't assess the trigger. Assess yourself. Check yourself. Evaluate yourself. How am I responding now? And you know what? Appreciate yourself when you are at a place where you see some progress after your assessment. You pat yourself on the back, on the shoulder, and you say, wow, well done. Well done, you are getting there. I said to you, healing is a process and it has no duration. There are many, many things that we have experienced. As a result, they have molded monsters in us. They have molded unforgiving people in us. They have molded people who have no peace. My students always laugh at me in Kansas City. If you are someone who is aware of him or herself, you will know that ekuqaleni you were someone who was chacharach. But now, as you are experiencing izinto zobomi, you are changing to become a more understanding person. You are becoming a better person. But there are those people who are out, and then they laugh when I say that. But the actions are saying something different. And you look at this person, you say, hey, Shem, they are unaware of who they are. But the good thing is that they are changing for the better, but they are not aware. They are so stuck into who they were. They are so stuck into who they were. They are no longer aware that they have changed. If you are listening to me, you'll get the fact that you'll get my point that I'm trying to say to you. Be aware of yourself. Be aware of khawuziqonde ubungubani man. Khawuziqonde ubungubani and kulondo uzazi ufuna ntoni. Unga allow izinto ezidlulileyo ezibhlungu zikwenza uhlale endaweni eyi-1. Ungavumi ngawo. Do not allow yourself to remain stagnant ngenxa ye past bad experiences. Don't. I'm gone. I'm saying to you, go back today. Today, do this assessment. Do this assessment honestly and pray about it. Because I'm saying you want to be a better person. You want to be a person who is impactful. You want to be a person who is going to influence other people positively through your comments, through your advice, through anything that comes out of your mouth and your actions, therefore. Have a lovely day.